Welcome back to another Monday Motivation Moment with Terry Ann. I'm Terry Ann Porter, Life Coach TA. Have my hot tea today. I've kind of converted over to some green tea for something a little bit different. Last week I asked you the question, how busy are you? And I offered up an assessment so that you could check it out for yourself. Did you take the assessment? It's not too late to download and check it out. Today, I want to talk about having peace. I find often that we are just so busy. When I was a kid, I used to watch, I think it was on the Ed Sullivan Show where I think I saw it. This man would come on and he would get all of these different dishes and bowls spinning on top of these little sticks. And just as soon as he would get all of them going, one would start to wobble and he'd have to run back and adjust that so they could all stay up and none of them fall to the ground. I don't know how he did it. But I often think that is what our life is like. That's what my life is like, I think sometimes. I'm so busy rushing here and here and here and here to keep all of the bowls up in the air so that nothing falls. And you know what? Nothing gets accomplished and everything falls. I was curious. I was talking to some people the other day. A good Christian is always busy doing things. I started to ask the question, where in the Bible do you find the verse, Jesus ran? Have you found the one that says Jesus had 1,000,000 things to do that day? Or how about Jesus ate quickly because he was running late? I searched for this one, still didn't find it. Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in the ability to multitask. I've tried to claim that one, but I can't find the backup for it. Or how about the rich young man called after him, good teacher, but Jesus turned and asked him to make an appointment. Perhaps because of his schedule, some in the crowd started calling him Rapid Rabbi. I know it's a fun way to look at it, but we look at our busyness and we think, oh, I'm doing the good Christian thing. Is that what God is asking of us? Peaceful productivity, being at peace with what we're doing, means saying yes to the best and no to the rest. So let's look at the word peace. With P, prioritize. Live your life well by beginning with the end in mind. Do you want to end your life looking back at how very busy and rushed you were? Make yourself a chart. I'm a chart person. If I put it in writing, things become much more real to me. So ask yourself, what are God's priorities for me? If you're not a Christian, if you don't want to go God's direction, that's okay. Ask yourself, what are my top priorities? And make a list of those. On the left side, put those. Now on the right, make a list of true top priorities. So what are God's priorities? And what are your priorities? Do they mesh? In the E, let's evaluate. The side effects of excessive busyness include physical fatigue, emotional exhaustion, lowered immunity to illness, less investment in relationships, increasingly pessimistic outlook, and increased absenteeism and inefficiency at work. You see, a frenzied lifestyle, it can literally make us sick. So, looking at our chart, what things am I doing that have no long-term value for me? And then on the right side, make a list of all of your obligations and activities. What we're doing here is sorting out what is yours and what is other people's. With the A, align. We must align our lives and schedules so that they reflect God's deepest priorities. Jeremiah 10:23 tells us, I know, O Lord, that a man's life is not his own. It is not for him to direct his steps. So ask yourself, how closely does my monthly schedule reflect God's deepest priorities for me? Start with a blank schedule. Fill in your top priorities. Find out what they are. Sometimes you'll be surprised at what you find when you break it down like this. PEAC. For the C, commitment. Changing the habits of a lifetime takes work, discipline, and incredible faith. Psalms 34:10 reminds us that those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. So ask yourself, how committed am I to following God's priorities? And find an accountability partner. We often will do better if we've got someone that we're accountable for, who's going to hold us accountable and say, are you really sure about what you're doing? Are you sticking close to your commitments? An accountability partner can always help us to stay on track. And for the final E, let's enjoy. Matthew 6:25-27 tells us, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you'll wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Look at the birds in the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet their heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? So the question to ask yourself, am I enjoying God's promises that He will provide? As an action step, I suggest that you take a relaxed cup of tea with a friend and start to enjoy the life that God has given you. Peaceful productivity. Being at peace with our busy lives means saying yes to the best and no to the rest. Are you too busy? Are you at peace? Maybe it's time to change your perspective. By changing your perspective, you will reveal new possibilities for you to explore. You'll notice new pathways are now opening onto which you can choose, onto which you will proceed. Yes, I am guilty of multitasking, of trying to stay busy. But I know that at those moments that I'm not at peace, that I'm out of sync with myself and with God. So I think I'm going to take a few moments to sit back, call a friend, and enjoy a cup of hot tea. Until next week, I am Terry Ann Porter, Life Coach, TA. Have a terrific, peaceful